Welcome back to the channel, GH Fanatics. Today is a beautiful day to dive deep into the absolute madness that just went down in Port Charles. Grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's get right into the thick of it. The courtroom was suffocating. You could practically hear the dust settling over the heavy oak benches as the momentum shifted so violently it felt like the floor dropped out from under us. Curtis Ashford stood there, a man who had gambled his literal freedom, staring at a piece of paper that held an impossible. The choices facing everyone in that room just evaporated into thin air, leaving nothing but a devastating week. I cannot believe they did this. I am literally sitting here, typing furiously at my keyboard at 2 in the morning because I am shaking with absolute rage and heartbreak. I mean, we all knew this trial was going to be messy. We knew that Isaiah Gannon taking the stand was going to be a powder keg waiting for a spark. But this absolute soul-crushing bombshell that just dropped right in the middle of the Port Charles courthouse. Are you kidding me right now? Let me just get my feelings out before I even try to logically explain what just happened, because my brain is still short-circuited. Portia Robinson has officially secured her spot as the most infuriating, pathologically deceptive character on daytime television. I am sorry, but there is no coming back from this. None. Zero. I've been watching since 2015, and this is the absolute worst thing they've done to a character I love. Curtis Ashford did not deserve this. He did not deserve it the first time with Trina, and he absolutely, unequivocally, did not deserve it a second time with baby Desmond. Okay, let me back up. Let's talk about the setup, because the sheer irony of how this all went down is actually making me sick to my stomach. Curtis has been facing these assault charges for ruining Isaiah's hand. We all know Isaiah has been out for blood. He wants financial compensation, he wants Curtis in jail, and he wants to completely destroy the man. Curtis was offered a 2-year plea deal. He could have taken it. He could have been paroled in 8 months. But no. Curtis, being the honorable, fiercely protective family man that he is, turned it down. Why? Because he didn't want to be separated from baby Desmond. He missed Trina's entire childhood because of Portia's lies, and he swore to Desmond that he wouldn't miss his first months. He risked a massive, lengthy prison sentence just to protect his daddy spot from Isaiah. And then we get to the trial. Martin Gray, in all his slick, southern lawyer glory, is strutting around the courtroom. His entire defense strategy was to provoke Isaiah, to make him look unstable and vindictive, and to paint Curtis as the ultimate, devoted family man who is just protecting his child. So, what does Martin do? He pulls out baby Desmond's medical records to submit into evidence, trying to establish a documented timeline of Curtis's unwavering devotion as a father. It was supposed to be a slam dunk. It was supposed to show the jury that Curtis is a family man who was pushed to the brink. But Martin Gray, the supposedly brilliant legal mind of Port Charles, apparently doesn't know how to read basic biological. Because right there, projected for the judge, the jury, and everyone in the gallery to see, was Desmond's blood type. And it completely, fundamentally, and undeniably did not match Curtis's blood type. I mean, my jaw unhinged and hit the floor. The silence in that courtroom was deafening. You could hear a pin drop. You could hear the exact moment Curtis Ashford's heart shattered into a million irreparable pieces. The camera zoomed in on his face, and the realization dawning in his eyes was the most tragic thing I have ever watched on. He looked at the paperwork, he looked at Martin, and then he looked at Portia. And Portia? Oh, don't even get me started on Portia. She looked like a deer in the headlights, but we all know that look. We saw that exact same look when the truth about Trina's paternity came. How does this keep happening? She is a doctor. She is the co-chief of staff at General Hospital. Are you seriously telling me that she didn't know the blood types would clash? Or did she know, and she just arrogantly assumed nobody would ever check? I genuinely don't know which is worse. Her being medically incompetent regarding her own child, or her being a calculated, cold-blooded liar who was willing to let Curtis go to prison for a baby that isn't even his? Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the absolute villain of the hour, Isaiah Gannon. While Curtis is standing there, his entire universe collapsing around him, the camera pans to Isaiah. And the look on Isaiah's face? It wasn't shock. It wasn't confusion. It was pure, unadulterated, triumphant smugness. It was a meaningful, predatory gaze that sent chills down my spine. Because think about the implications here. Portia and Isaiah have been getting extremely close. They are dating. Isaiah has been playing the supportive boyfriend, hovering around Desmond, inserting himself into Portia's life. If Curtis isn't the father, who is? Am I the only one screaming at the television that Isaiah's the father? Because the math is mathing, people. Isaiah's triumphant look wasn't just the look of a man who won a court case. It was the look of a man who just won the ultimate war. He didn't just take Curtis's freedom, he took his family, his legacy, and his child. Isaiah has been fighting Curtis for the daddy spot, and in one fell swoop, a piece of paper proved that Isaiah might literally be the daddy. This completely destroys Curtis's entire defense. The whole point of rejecting the plea deal was to fight for his family. But what family is he fighting for now? The betrayal was so palpable, you could taste it through the screen. Curtis's posture just crumbled. You could see the fight completely drain out of him. Why should he defend himself? Why should he care if he goes to Pentonville for 5, 10, or 20 years? The life he was fighting to protect was a complete and utter mirage. It was a bitter, cruel joke played on him by the woman he loved. I know some people are loving this drama. I know the forums are lighting up right now with people saying this is peak soap opera television, and yes, the acting was phenomenal. But personally, I am devastated. I am so incredibly frustrated with how the writers treat Curtis. Why must he constantly be the sacrificial lamb for Portia's decision? Remember when they tried this with Marcus Taggart? Remember how Taggart was completely destroyed when he found out Trina wasn't biologically his? Yeah, it didn't work out well for him either. He spiraled into depression and alcoholism. And now they are doing the exact same thing to Curtis. It is a recycled trauma, but somehow, it hurts even more this time because Curtis actively chose to risk his freedom for this lie. And what about Trina? Can we please talk about Trina Robinson for a second? That poor girl has been through absolute hell and back. She just finally made a firm decision to set boundaries with her parents. She literally just told them she wanted less attention from them because their toxic drama was ruining her life. She is trying to focus on her music showcase with Gio. She is dealing with a potential stalker situation with Quinn and Simon. And now she's going to wake up to the news that her mother has pulled the exact same paternity scam with her new baby brother. Trina is going to completely disown Portia. Mark my words. There is no coming back from this for their mother-daughter relationship. Portia has proven that she is fundamentally incapable of telling the truth about the children she brings into this world. Let's also talk about Marshall and Stella. Aunt Stella has been the voice of reason this entire time. She warned Curtis about gambling with his trial. She told him to keep his eyes on the prize and focus on the baby's well-being. Watching Marshall and Stella in the gallery as those medical records were exposed, my heart broke for them. The Ashford family legacy is built on loyalty and truth, and Portia has completely poisoned that well. So, what happens now? Because I honestly don't see a way out for Curtis. Martin Gray completely fumbled the bag. He introduced the very evidence that destroyed his client's motive. Curtis has lost all motivation to. I am predicting that Curtis is going to stand up in that courtroom tomorrow, interrupt the proceedings, and just change his plea to guilty. He is going to accept the maximum sentence because he feels like he has nothing left to live for on the outside. He is going to let Isaiah win. He is going to let Isaiah take Portia, take the baby, and take his life. And honestly, I am dreading it. I am absolutely dreading watching Curtis rot in Pentonville while Portia and Isaiah play happy family with a baby built on a foundation. But at the same time, I can't look away. The tension is so thick, the stakes are so high, and the emotional fallout is going to ripple through Port Charles for years to come. I mean, how is Portia going to show her face at General Hospital after this? She is the co-chief of staff. Her entire professional reputation is built on trust and ethics. And she just got exposed in a court of law for falsifying or hiding medical data regarding her own child's. Tracy Quartermain is going to have a field day with them. Tracy is already looking for any excuse to throw her weight around on the hospital board, and a scandal of this magnitude involving the co-chief of staff is exactly the kind of ammunition Tracy loves. Wait, let's circle back to Martin Gray. Can we seriously discuss the malpractice happening here? Martin is supposed to be this high-rolling, brilliant attorney. How do you not review the discovery material? How do you not consult a medical expert when you are submitting medical records into evidence? He just blindly threw those papers on the projector because he wanted a dramatic courtroom. Well, he got his dramatic moment, alright? He just effectively sent his own client to prison. If I were Curtis, the second I got out of shock, I would fire Martin on the spot and sue him for everything he is. But Curtis won't do that, because Curtis is too broken. Sometimes I contradict myself because I get so emotional watching this show. One minute I'm saying I want Curtis to fight back and destroy Portia, and the next minute I'm saying I just want him to plead guilty and escape the humiliation. I'm figuring out my thoughts as I type this, but the underlying feeling is just pure, unadulterated grief for a character who has tried so hard to do the right thing. Curtis stepped up. He embraced fatherhood. He promised that little boy they would never be sad. And Portia let him make those promises, knowing full well it was a lie. Because she had to know, right? There's no way she didn't know. The timeline with Isaiah, the weird tension between them, the way Isaiah has been lingering around. Portia knew. She just thought she could control the narrative like she always does. She thought she could manipulate Curtis into being the stable, loving father figure while keeping Isaiah on the hook. It is narcissistic, it is cruel, and it is the ultimate betrayal. This shifts the entire momentum of the summer sweep. We were all focused on Jason leaving the mob, or Anna Devane's hallucinations, or the Windermere hostage. But this courtroom reveal just hijacked the entire narrative of Port Charles. The Ashford family is officially shattered. The relationship between Curtis and Portia is dead and buried in an unsalvageable abyss. And Isaiah Gannon is standing victorious on the ashes of Curtis's life. I am going to need a lot of coffee to get through the rest of this week's episodes, because the fallout is going to be brutal. We are going to see tears, we are going to see screaming matches, and we are going to see a good man lose his freedom because he trusted the wrong woman. Again, will Curtis survive Pentonville after giving up his fight, or is there another twist waiting in the wings? Drop your wildest theories in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep this conversation going.